Mirrors and labyrinths are the reality-bending symbols in the short story collection Ficciones. Mirrors symbolize duplication. For example, in the story Death in the Compass, Lanrut arrives at the villain's lair and finds himself infinitely reflected in opposing mirrors. These reflections are fitting because Sherlock is a reflection of Lanrut. Like Lanrut, he reads Hebraic books and interprets crimes on that basis. In the story The Approach to Al-Mutasim, the illustrated book The Approach to Al-Mutasim is subtitled A Game with Shifting Mirrors. In that story, the law student meets a succession of men, each of them a mirror of Al-Mutasim. But the mirror shifts because in the end, there is the suggestion the law student himself is Al-Mutasim. The mirrors stand for the way art and thought create duplicate worlds or duplicate selves. Thus, in the entryway to the infinite and surreal library in Babel, there hangs a mirror, which faithfully duplicates appearances. The mirror's duplication reveals that both the real world and its reflection are nothing but appearances. Thus, the mirror removes some reality from the so-called real world. This is one way in which mirrors have something grotesque about them, as the narrator states in Talon Ukbar Orbis Tertius. In that story, the narrator and his friend discover from the far end of the corridor the mirror was watching us. The world in the mirror, or the mirror itself, can acquire a grotesque autonomy in Ficciones. Labyrinths represent the wanderer's perplexity and the maze maker's attempt to construct something infinite. They also represent the tangled paths of thought and interpretation. Although labyrinths are an important symbol in Ficciones, they are mentioned rather than depicted. Labyrinths turn up in book titles, A General History of Labyrinths in Talon Ukbar Orbis Tertius, and The God of the Labyrinth in that same story, and also in an examination of the works of Herbert Quain. Perhaps most significant of all is the difference between a physical and a written labyrinth that marks the central focus of The Garden of Forking Paths. Yu Sun's grandfather, Shui Pen, retires to write a novel and create a labyrinth. At his death, he bequeaths his heirs the novel The Garden of Forking Paths, but no one can find his labyrinth. Like all the labyrinths in Ficciones, Shui Pen's is a symbolic labyrinth, as Stephen Albert points out. Its maze-like forking paths represent the multiplicity of possible interpretations.